Welcome back, Money Circle fam. Hope you guys are having a good day so far today. So I wanted to give you the first update with our challenge of going from $5 invested in the stock market to $1,000 as quick as we possibly can. Now, if you're interested in tracking this on a day-by-day basis, I am posting this on my Instagram. You can see the link down in the description below. That way you can keep up with the trades because I'm actually trading at a pretty high rate right now, where I might have to enter a position and exit a position pretty quick, especially because this week, which I'll update you with, or this past week, I should say, was very interesting. That's the easiest way I can put it. It was very interesting. So I was in and out of a lot of positions pretty quickly overall because ultimately I want to get to that $1,000 as quick as I possibly can. And if you are interested in just seeing like what exactly I'm doing on a day-by-day basis, you can go track it over there. So let's talk a little bit about how the week went, what the numbers look like, and some things that I learned, because this was a big week for me, not only for the momentum that we're going to carry going into the new administration and our goals and some of the positions we have, but also the amount of stuff that I learned just about myself within 1 week. Okay, so I think where we left off was I mentioned that I would be getting into IonQ. And the reason for that was I know that quantum stocks took a big hit a couple Fridays ago because basically the CEO of NVIDIA came out and said, we're about 15 to 20 years away from quantum even having a real world use case. So that totally bombed the momentum of quantum. And so I figured going into Monday, IonQ would probably have one of the biggest recoveries because of the partnerships it's created already. So I was hoping that I would be able to catch the bottom of the sell-off and then start to ride the momentum up. So that's where we started on the last video. So, and also I told you I was going to start off on Webull. I wanted to start with a brand new fresh account. That way you guys can just see like every single trade I've made and track it very simply. And then that way also I'm not mixing any current positions I may have with my other portfolio. Now, let's talk a little bit about that to start. So I did start with Webull. I created a fresh account. There were a lot of things I didn't know about Webull going into it. I've heard it's a great platform once you understand it and you know how it works and you have a good amount of money in there. But one thing I didn't know is if you're starting with $5, you can't go into fractional shares if you're below $5. That's the first thing I didn't know. The second thing is you have to kind of build up the account a little bit before they give you access to instant investing. Instant investing is something I use on Robinhood because I don't have to wait for money to be deposited. I can simply initiate a deposit. They front me the money and I could start investing pretty much immediately. That's not how it worked in Webull. I created the account, I deposited money, and then I had to wait like 2 or 3 days for the money to actually go through for me to get my position in IonQ. So the app itself, I was pretty disappointed with overall because when you're doing a challenge like this, it's very important to be in and out of a trade as quick as you possibly can be. And I actually ran into a position where IonQ on Monday actually started dropping pretty quick. When I first woke up on Monday, it was down 15% already, and the chart looked terrible, so I knew it was going to go down more. So I didn't know when it was going to stop, so I knew that going into Wednesday, I was going to try to buy into banking stocks because banking stocks earnings were coming, and I knew that banking stocks had really good profits. I think they said JP Morgan Chase had record profits, but I knew that because of the rumblings, and I've been in the banking world a while, so I knew that the earnings were going to come in solid. So on Wednesday, my goal was to buy in before earnings came out so I could ride that wave of momentum. Now, here's what I didn't plan for is when IonQ lost its 15 to 20%, I panicked and sold my position because, again, I wanted to be able to participate in the trades on Wednesday, and I wanted to hemorrhage the loss as much as I possibly could. So I sold, I believe, midday on Monday, And that took me down to like $4. You can see it here. It took me down to like $4.70 some odd cents. And again, I was just going to leave it like that until beginning of Monday, and then I was going to buy, or beginning of Wednesday rather, and buy into banking stocks and then basically participate in those. What I didn't know was if you're under $5, you can't participate in fractional shares. So when I went to buy into the banking stocks on Wednesday, they said you need to deposit more money in order to meet that $5 to be able to buy that stock. So I put in 22 cents, I think it was like 22 cents, and with the intention of, okay, this should clear pretty quick and then I'll buy in Wednesday morning. That's not how it worked. I basically now have $4.78 stuck on Webull right now because they're having some issues transferring money from my account to my brokerage with Webull. So I actually just took the money. I took more money from my bank account essentially and just moved it over to Robinhood. Reason why is because Robinhood I'm already using. I already have built up the account and I can easily do the instant trading. So I'm still going to count that as where we're at right now for the $4.78 because I'm just going to basically take that money out and put it back into my personal account. So it's not like I lost any money. I'm just putting it back in there. So going into Wednesday, let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. Okay, so now we're into Wednesday and I moved my portfolio over to Robinhood and I actually missed the earnings for banking just because of the time that I got in to the market on Wednesday. I was hoping that, again, Webull was going to clear, and it didn't clear. So I think by the time I had everything figured out, it was like Wednesday-ish, and I missed the earnings for banking. So unfortunately, I didn't miss a whole lot. I think it went up like 4 or 5%. Still would have been a great 4 or 5% to add. But what I did do is I bought back into quantum stocks because those were starting to climb at that point. So the loss that I had initially started with on Monday and Tuesday, I was able to recover going into Wednesday and Thursday. And I think I caught, you'll see it here, I bought into Rigetti. And I believe I caught, again, you can see it here, trying to remember exactly, but it was in the 15 to 20% range in that area. And it might have even been a little bit more. But I was able to recover some of those losses. And then my plan was, and this is what I did, was to sell my position in quantum on Thursday and move over to TSMC. And the reason why is because I knew that TSMC was doing their earnings on Thursday, and I knew that their earnings were going to be really good as well, just because, again, I've been tracking that market. So I wanted to participate in TSMC's earnings. So I sold my position in quantum Rigetti and moved over to TSMC on Thursday. And I did catch their upswing. You can see it here. I think I caught 4 or 5% there. And then my plan was to hold until the beginning of next week because I knew we had, or the beginning of this week rather, because I knew we had a new president coming in. So I was just going to ride the wave at that point. Now, going into Friday, we're going to fast forward to Friday. I know I'm jumping. Hopefully, you guys can keep up here because that's how much trading I'm doing at this point. Going into Friday, my plan was to stay into TSMC and just ride it out. But then I got news that the Supreme Court upheld the TikTok ban. So then my mind went to, okay, if the TikTok ban is going to happen, it's going to happen on the 19th. And the market's not going to be open. So I decided to sell my position in TSMC, which actually worked out really well because TSMC dropped 1% on Friday, and I bought into Meta. And the reason why is because those people, those content creators like myself, are going to be moving to other platforms because TikTok is gone. So I'm going to take advantage of that and invest into Meta. So I moved my position from TSMC, which I pulled out at the perfect time because I didn't lose anything. And I went into Meta. And Meta really only gained about 0.5%. So it didn't do crazy by any means, but I was able to hold my investment. So all in all, this week was very interesting because I made some bad predictions and I pulled out of some trades early, but I learned a lot about myself, which is why I'm thankful I'm doing this challenge, because I don't day trade like this. I don't do high volume trading in fast moving trading. I usually buy a stock and I just hold it for a couple months, 6 months, a year, whatever, and then just ride out the wave of momentum. And that's what my portfolio is, my big portfolio is holding more than anything. So I learned a lot about myself in fast moving trading, and I made some mistakes this first week, which I'm glad I got it out of the way in the first 2 days, because it's teaching me discipline of staying in the trade. If you're that confident in the company, just stay in the trade. So I'm pretty thankful for how the first week of this challenge went, because I learned a lot, and although it started bad, it's actually turned out really well. So all in all, pretty well. So now at the time of recording this video, it is the 19th of January, and I'm still holding my position in Facebook for the time being. You can see that position here. So we're at $5.39. So about 8 or 9% is what we gained for the week. Now I ran some numbers, and if I continue at about the 9 to 10% range every single week, it's going to take me about 52 weeks to complete this challenge. So I ran some numbers for what it would look like for me to hit that 6-month goal, and we have to average around 22 to 23% per week if we want to hit this goal. So I'm still confident I can do this right now. It is going to be a challenge because this is not a trading type that I have done before. But again, I'm pretty thankful, because to be doing high volume trading and being locked out of accounts and dealing with a new style and a new way of investing, I've already learned a lot about myself, but in the process of doing all this, even though mistakes were made, I still made 8%, which is awesome. So when you factor in like 8% of $100 is $108, which doesn't seem like a lot, but now scale that up and scale that up and scale that up. That was what I wanted to try to show, is what the power of investing can do if you just get started. So I'm pretty thankful with the results so far, but I'm still very much committed to trying to get this thing done in 6 months. And if we have to make adjustments like we just did in moving from Webull to Robinhood to hit that 6 months, we will. But everything is going really, really well right now. And I'm excited to continue this journey from $5 to $1,000 in the stock market as quick as I possibly can, and just give you guys full transparency. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, I'll try to keep you updated as much as I possibly can. Continue to monitor on Instagram, because I am dropping videos after almost every trade. There are some trades I'm going to hold on to for longer than a day. It just so happened to be, I knew that this week was going to be very high volume trading and a lot of money movement. So I was in and out of trades pretty quick, but that's not going to be the norm moving forward. So go make sure that you follow me on Instagram if you want to catch daily updates, or at least updates every couple of days. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure that you smash that subscribe button, and I appreciate everything you guys have done to support me in building this community and moving to this new platform and just really doing new stuff. So you guys are awesome. Have a good week, and we'll be back soon.